BRAC is the worst form of disposal, except for all of the others. And it's true, because BRAC provides oversight, transparency, public scrutiny, and a commission. A commission with feelings that are required to visit an installation that they project to close. When you don't have that, you have a process that has no public process, no transparency, and it's just not good. You have the decision makers within the department that are playing a chess game with your future. And it's not a good thing. So when you're looking at it, again, whether they call it a BRAC or whether they don't call it a BRAC, something is necessary. The department's going to get smaller, and we need to help. They've set the motion and the wheels in motion to lay the foundation for a BRAC through this National Defense Authorization Bill. They have put forth language to address and measure excess capacity. So you only need 30% of your buildings and 70% of your base is excess infrastructure. So Congress has now mandated the Department of Defense to give them an accurate number of, this is truly how much excess infrastructure that we have. The Air Force did their measurement prior to the 2005 BRAC. They had 24% prior to the 2005. They closed less than 1%. Since 2005, they've had an 8% reduction in manpower, and they've lost 500 airplanes. In the next 5 years, they have an upcoming additional divestiture of 500 airplanes, and anywhere from 20,000 to 70,000 additional forces. Sounds discouraging, but there was a word of encouragement. Be bold and innovative, and don't be scared. And that ties right back to those partnerships. What can we do, guys? What can we do that is innovative, that nobody has done, that will make us different, that'll make us stand out, that'll reduce costs on the base, that'll benefit our community, that'll bring dollars here? What can we do?
Is the BRAC based upon excess capacity, or is it based upon things that we need to improve on, or both?
The BRAC process, it's based upon excess infrastructure. They want to reduce their footprint. In order to do so, they need a fair process to do so. And so that was the reason we completed those studies, was to take an honest look of where we were standing in factors that they call military value. And so they look at all of these issues and say, well, this is of military value, this is not. And if we score high on everything, then we have nothing to worry about, because quite frankly, if we're getting the same numbers they are, we're going to score very highly and we're not going to do poorly. But our concern was to make sure that at least you know where you stand and you can move towards improvements, from there.
You mentioned the study. Are we going to update that study? Is that in the plan?
And I'm glad you asked that, Mr. Lowe. What we're doing with that is we have our top 5 issues. And if you will let me get a reprieve on that, I will come back to that. We have our top 5 priorities that we want to focus on. And I'll speak to that in just a moment. I'll just close out here with the future of installation management. Just a quick note. They used to hand a base commander a big pocketbook of money. Say, here you go run your base. They're not doing that anymore. They are working towards centralized management. And that is something that I heard over and over at the conference. Centralized management, which means the commanders are not going to have the discretion to make big changes. It's going to have to go through a centralized management agency. And while it hasn't been done yet, they're looking at standing up the Air Force Installations Command. The Army has a similar model. But what that is centralized management of all installations, and it's done by one entity. And so really, you're standardizing as much as you can all your installations across the service. It's good and bad. Obviously, they look at it as a cost-saving measure, but in reality, no place is the same. Robins Air Force Base is not like San Diego, Sacramento. Nobody is the same. And so, unfortunately, it takes away the flexibility piece. So with that, in all of our innovativeness, we need to get cranking on those ideas for how we're going to invest in these partnerships and work towards, making us different and quite beyond all of our other competitors. Slide, please. Okay. Back in December, we were granted IRS approval as a 501c3, which is great, which means that you can give us tax deductible money. So you can give your check once you left. So you can give your checks to me before you leave. No, I'm kidding. On base, they have the combined federal campaign, which is the federal folks can have money deducted from their paycheck for a cause or a nonprofit cause of their choosing. So you will see a big campaign blitz from us to try to solicit funding from those folks that work on base and raise the awareness. And hopefully, over the last year and a half, we've been able to do that, but we're going to really hit them hard come CFC time. And if you want to just jot down this number, that's our CFC number. We will be in the campaign this year. Mr. Lowe, back to your question.
I didn't mean to jump ahead of you.
No, you're fine. It's forward thinking. We have an action plan that we're working to address the areas of top needed improvement. We're doing that and attacking that in a multitude of ways. One way is to continue our excellent relationship with the Middle Georgia Regional Commission that has produced quality results and really work hard to make sure that they address the needs of the partnership and the community. The second part is we don't have an endless fund of streaming either. And we have a brilliant set of educational assets in our community that we really need to work hard to leverage. And so through the Archway Partnership and Michelle Elliott, she connected me with a graduate class at UGA that does grant writing. And they have a summer class and they pick which nonprofits they want to help and they write a substantial grant for whatever you want. So they're being graded on this, so it's going to be quality work. And it's at a graduate level. And so we were chosen by 2 students, and they're going to write grants for us. And we asked them to focus that grant on tackling our crime issue in Middle Georgia. So God willing, we will be notified in a couple of months that we will receive a, hopefully, rather large grant to help tackle our crime issue that we've perceived through our studies. And with that, at zero cost, because we leveraged our educational partnerships to get the grant application, and obviously once they award the grant, it's a zero cost to us as well. Next slide. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Payne.
Any questions for Chrissy?
I have
Go
one.
ahead, sir.
Renewable energy technologies, the Department of Defense has given most military bases, well, all military bases, a mandate. How does that play into what you all are doing here on today?
Well, and again, that's another thing that we're working. They have already begun the process of working towards renewable energy solutions for the base. For instance, on the south end of the base, they have a new 10 megawatt facility of solar. And so, again, these are things that we are constantly working to evolve and identify opportunities, maybe in the north end or areas where we can look to expand in renewables. And again, looking for ways to set us apart from others in a positive light. Again, with renewables, your costs, hopefully up front might be higher, but again, the environment is ripe for third-party investments. Again, that's something you wouldn't think of probably 10 years ago, but now Congress actually mandated that each military installation look at doing third-party investment to replace their infrastructure and help get them to be more energy efficient and hopefully in the long run save the department money and the taxpayer. So again, another thing that we certainly have working in our hand. Mike?
I know in the campaign to raise funds, Power 10 was involved, and they think they did a feasibility study and completed that.
Mhm.
What were the results of the feasibility study?
The feasibility study was that we should be funded. That people generally support the partnership and the need for a partnership. We had some great comments, and one of the comments was that we need more staff. And yes, we know, and we're working towards that. And you know, that was a tremendous report that they put together, and you know, we're going to touch base with them in a couple of weeks. Again, we're trying not to make, you know, in our period of transition, we're trying to not make any very long-standing decisions that could have long-term impact. So again, Sean did a fabulous job, and it was a great effort, and it's not over. Again, we're push the pause button on that.
Well, they test the number for you
The
in terms of what, when they went out and talked to everybody, you know, they generally will tell you, come back and say, well, this is how much you can raise, or this is what people are saying. I mean,
he stuck with $5 million.
Okay.
$5 million over 5 years.
Good.
Yep.
Mike, in along that regard, we met with Sean prior to General Plan leaving, and what was determined is while that program is needed, feasible in this transition, we need to focus on the mission and then the surge. And so Sean understood that, and we're going to look at it come the fall timeframe, put that local committee together. And we appreciate you, Morgan, bringing those folks to us. But that still is on the radar. It's just not a priority until they
So the important thing is they validated $5 million over 5 years. That's what I wanted to know.
Absolutely.
And they provide great feedback that people wouldn't necessarily say with your face. And I know that sounds funny, but it's important to get you know, very clear feedback, and so we're thankful for that. Mr. Steve?
Does or the partnership, or will the partnership have a tie-in with the new veterans school that we built across 247?
It's funny that you asked that. Primarily, right off the bat, I can tell you that the person that they've tapped to run the veterans piece of that is Colonel Patricia Ross, who's right now the vice commander at Robbins. She retires in about a week or so, and she's going to be leading that charge. We have an excellent relationship with her, and I have, if you've walked the wall, you recall there was a Veteran Services section. One of our studies was Veteran Services, and she has agreed to be our champion for Veteran Services. So we are certainly going to work to grow that relationship and see some benefit. And again, on the shameless plug, when you look at the downsizing, when you look at the reductions, this is a very patriotic community. What better way to diversify than Veteran Services? Veterans, you know, something to think about. Folks, anything else?
I'd like to say thanks for y'all taking the helm and running the show during this transition period.
Thank
I think you've done a real good job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And to expand a little bit more on those studies, we met with the Regional Commission in the last 2 weeks, and what we're targeting is those top 5, and what we've got to find is a champion. Obviously, Colonel Ross is an excellent one for that, but we've got those top areas. We're going to take those existing studies and run those to ground, not only to back check on data, make sure that the experts in those fields, crime, healthcare, that kind of thing, make sure that the Regional Commission was on track in terms of the data that they initially pulled for that, comparing us to the other installations. Backtrack on the data, make sure we're tight on that, and then really find a champion within those categories to lead that community charge, not only from a BRAC or a support to Robbins, but more from a quality of life standpoint too, that will help Middle Georgia well beyond our efforts as well. So those studies were gave us some very positives, some challenges, but what that's created is an action plan for us in terms of moving forward. And so we've got that. That's one of our priorities at this point in time too. All right. With that, is there any old business that we need to address? Any new business? I wanted to take a minute as part of our support campaign. We've got a 21st Century Partnership coin, and in military fashion, I'd like to present this to Mr. Jack Steed, who is just a stalwart supporter not only of the partnership but many things around our community. Certainly one of the most patriotic gentlemen I know, and that I try and aspire to. But Jack, thank you so much for your support and everything you do.
I'm searching for a word that covers my emotions. One, I'm floored. Two, I'm honored. I'm surprised, and I'm humble and grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. Mr. Wiggins.
Election year, I don't know who you're voting for, I don't care. When you're talking to these candidates and handing out this money, I don't know about you, but I never hear anybody mention the military. They need to be on record. If you're gonna give them some money, we're about as weak politically, whether you like it or not, as we've been in our entire history. And I don't see it getting any better no matter who gets elected. But you still need to put the questions with your money when you send it in. What do you intend to do to help? One or two of them don't even consider being on the Senate Armed Services. We haven't missed that in a long time. Please, please, get it as public as you can, that you care about it, and that they need to make some kind of firm statement that you can hold them accountable after whoever gets elected.
Yes, Mike.
You know, Brad, I know we're going to have the state chamber's going to have their event again this year in Macon. It's going to be the senatorial debate. And I think that question that Eddie Ruck, it should be a question that we make sure the moderator asks both of them, whoever they're involved in that debate, their response to that issue.
Is that August?
Yes.
August, okay. And I'm sure more information will come out about that, but that's absolutely dead on target.
And Brad, that enhanced use leasing, that's a great tool for economic development, to be utilized to be able to even talk to other industries and to bring them in here and to be able to know what is needed, what excess capacity, what that will be left over so that you can utilize some of the things that's concerning the base. But enhanced use leases is a great tool.
And as to the P4 initiative, no question about it. Obviously, the probably low-hanging fruit is that public, but where private investment is concerned, I mean, obviously, G-Ramp is another thing that's maybe on the back burner a little bit, but there are opportunities there. Mixed-use runway has been talked about quite a bit, and I think we need to keep stirring that pot. My personal feeling is that until we have a true prospect, I don't know that it's, we got to make sure that we don't ready, fire, aim. We got to make sure we've got a sniper target on that one when we go to the Air Force and ask for that kind of thing. So, but that's the initiative that Chrissy highlighted too. We got to think outside the box, and we appreciate those kind of activities going on. And Mayor too, we talked about that recently as well. So, joint use and EULs. Did you have a question, sir?
No.
There's a conference downstairs on alternative energy, and I know the museum was excited that we were meeting today in conjunction with that. Are there any, Jay, do you have any information on that? I hate to put you on the spot on that, or anybody else?
Thank you, Brad, I don't.
Okay. Figured I get the power guy, but never mind. I'm sorry, but obviously, as you walk out to the parking lot, there's some really smart folks down there, it looks like, and I'm going to stop and talk to them a little bit too. It's something And did you say you were in a meeting down there too?
No, I just got off the elevator with the crowd, it was on the second floor.
Okay.
I went down, Commissioner Tim Eccles with the Georgia Public Service Commission is hosting this vehicle, alternative fuel vehicle road tour to just try to bring some awareness about alternative fuel across the state of Georgia. This past session, there was a bill introduced that would change the tax credits regarding alternative fuel. So this tour is kind of a way to educate folks across the state about it. So I encourage all of you, if you have time today, to stop in and just learn about what's going on. And I'm Patty Bentley, State Representative for House District 139, which includes Taylor, Macon, Dooley counties, and of course, Peach County. My mayor, Fort Valley, is here today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, we also, we got hydrogen cars coming out next year.
Didn't know you could do that. Just did. All right, next meeting, September 11th. At this point, we'll stand adjourned. Thank y'all very
How you doing?
Those proceeds.